Welcome to Did You Know number 18. Lana is going to share a couple of things, and then I'm going to share a couple of things, and then we're going to get to our question.
Alright. Alright. Let's see here. We have moved on. We're in Deuteronomy now.
Look out, look out.
Look out. Deuteronomy 3. Deuteronomy 3, verse 11.
Deuteronomy 3:11. For only Og, king of Bashan, remained of the remnant of giants. Behold, his bedstead was a bedstead of iron. Is it not in Raboth of the children of Ammon? 9 cubits was the length thereof, and 4 cubits the breadth of it, after the cubit of a man.
I wrote on here, an iron bed. How big was this bed? But I don't know if you gave me this. I wrote like 13 and a half feet long and 6 feet wide.
Yep. Yeah, the cubit of a man is 18 inches. So 9 cubits length would be, you take 9 times a foot and a half, would get you, what is it, 13 and a half feet?
Yeah, that's what I...
13 and a half feet long, and then 4 cubits wide would be 6 feet. So 13 and a half feet long and 6 feet wide.
And I'm sitting here thinking, we were watching basketball. What team was it?
UCF has 7'6" guy.
7'6". This basketball player, and bless his heart, God love him. He just, you feel sorry for him, and you're wondering if he's still growing, because Eric and I have seen a couple of videos on YouTube where they interviewed people, boys and girls that are extremely tall, and some of them are still growing. But this guy is 7'6", and I hated it because they were pretty much insulting the guy. They put this reporter who was 5'2", this woman next to him, and another guy that was, 6 something?
6 something, yeah.
Yeah, next to him, to show how tall he was. Like he was a freak show. And that made me mad. But, no, I read that and I'm thinking, 13 and a half feet long. He's about half of that. Well, he's close, and 6 feet wide. Holy smoke. That's huge.
Well, that's his bed, so he wasn't that big, but he's got to be pretty tall to have that.
I mean, this is just one of the giants from back in the day. I mean, that is...
You figure he's got to be at least 11 feet tall if he's got a 13 and a half foot long bed.
What was the shoe size of that basketball player?
22.
Size 22 shoe. And everything he has to be made. I just feel sorry for him, But anyway, that crossed my mind and made me think about when the spies went in. If I saw a 13 and a half foot tall man, yeah, I'd probably go back and go, we can't take these guys. Of course, I've been, God have been like, all right, you're out of here. You don't have enough faith in me. I mean, like, have you seen those guys? He's like, yes, I have. Okay, the next one is Deuteronomy 9, verse 21. Deuteronomy 9, verse 21.
And I took your sin, the calf which ye had made, and burnt it with fire, and stamped it, and ground it very small, even until it was as small as dust. And I cast the dust thereof in the brook that descended out of the mount.
You know how back in the day, California had the gold rush and everything. That verse just made me think, that's how gold ended up in the rivers.
Gold dust in the rivers, yeah.
Gold dust in the rivers. Bet you didn't know that.
Yeah.
It was God put the gold dust in the rivers.
Yeah.
Okay, that was my 2, so it's your turn.
First one I have is 1 Samuel 5. First Samuel 5, 1 through 4. And the Philistines took the ark of God and brought it from Ebenezer unto Ashdod. When the Philistines took the ark of God, they brought it into the house of Dagon, and set it by Dagon. And when they of Ashdod arose early on the morrow, behold, Dagon was fallen upon his face to the earth before the ark of the Lord. And they took Dagon and set him in his place again. And when they arose early on the morrow morning, behold, Dagon was fallen upon his face to the ground before the ark of the Lord. And the head of Dagon and both the palms of his hands were cut off upon the threshold. Only the stump of Dagon was left to him. I just think it's pretty funny that God cut off the arms and legs of this god of the Philistines. That's a funny thing. I did a candid conversation a couple weeks ago asking, does God have a sense of humor? If you want to say yes, this is probably a good passage to support that he cuts off the arms. He says, you think your God is so good? First, I'm just going to knock him down. And then they have to set him up. And he says, okay, well, you didn't get it, so now I'm going to knock him down. I'm going to cut off his arms and legs. It's just funny that God would do that.
Well, and if you notice, the next verse says, therefore neither the priest of Dagon nor any that come into Dagon's house tread on the threshold of Dagon in Ashdod unto this day. So it's like they finally realize, oh, well, I guess you're not worth anything. You ain't got no hands or head. I ain't worshiping the torso, so I guess I'll go somewhere else,
Yeah, it's funny. They're superstitious because they're religious, so then they won't tread on the threshold.
Mm-hmm.
And my next one is 1 Samuel 9. And this goes along with what Lana shared. Verse 2. And he had a son whose name was Saul, a choice young man and a goodly. And there was not among the children of Israel a goodlier person than he. From his shoulders and upward, he was higher than any of the people. Did you know that the first king of Israel, well, technically the first king of Israel is God, but the first man who was king of Israel, Saul, was from his shoulders up taller. So if from here up to here, so you got about that much there. Here's you see about that much. He's taller than everybody else. So maybe about a foot. He's about a foot taller than everybody else out there. Did you know the first man king of Israel was that tall? Okay, the question that we had last time, I asked the question, who died by falling backwards from his seat? And I said it's in 1 Samuel. The answer is Eli. 1 Samuel 4, verse 15. Now Eli was 98 years old, and his eyes were dim that he could not see. And the man said unto Eli, I am he that came out of the army, and I fled today out of the army. And he said, what is there done, my son? And the messenger answered and said, Israel is fled before the Philistines, and there hath been also a great slaughter among the people. And thy 2 sons also, Hophni and Phinehas, are dead, and the ark of God is taken. And it came to pass, when he made mention of the ark of God, that he fell from off the seat backward by the side of the gate, and his neck brake, and he died. For he was an old man and heavy, and he judged Israel 40 years. I know when I was a kid and going to school, that was one big thing the teacher was always trying to get us boys for when you're in like the 3rd or 4th grade. You're sitting in your desk, and you're trying to lean back, and she said, don't lean back on those legs. Keep all 4 legs of the desk on the ground. I never had a teacher that read this passage, but I tell you, if they would read it, maybe it'd keep kids from rocking back in their chairs. And because a couple kids did fall down, rock back and fall down on the ground. Eli does it and died. His neck broke and died. So don't rock back in your chair. That's the moral of that story. Okay, the question for next time. Who was thought to be drunk while praying? Who was thought to be drunk while praying? And that comes from 1 Samuel as well. All right, see you next time.